Time now for the Educated Retirement Show with your host, Jay Kaplan. Jay discusses reverse mortgages and can answer your questions at 951-922-3532. Call lines are open at 951-922-3532. And now here's Jay.
Well, here is Jay, and Jay will answer your questions, but you got to call me first, 866. Now, let me give you this number, the call-in number, 951-922-3532, or Sean would say, our great engineer, 951-922-3532, something like that anyway. Anyway, welcome to the Educated Retirement Radio here on KMET 1490 AM, where we, as usual, will be discussing retirement, how to best prepare for said retirement, and how to best stay happily retired. Now, today, I had kind of a light flu a couple of weeks ago, I think you might remember. But I'd taken a flu shot, so I did pretty well. But now I got a cold. It's all my wife's fault. I'm doing really well right now. But it hasn't always been that way, so bear with me if I stop talking. You know, I don't have any trouble talking unless it's a physical thing. So, we today will be taking a movie like Swarm to the Smithsonian while Ray Bolger sells vacuum cleaners. Now, we had a guest, and the guest had to cancel for good reason. And since my voice is not guaranteed to continue, don't applaud because of that. We're going to have a good segment from the past, kind of a synchronicity in a way, because this person, Randy, contacted me this morning and wanted something added for him and his company. And all of a sudden, there's a need for Randy to be on the show. So let me read you what he sent me this morning. And it is, discover how you can attain financial freedom among other life goals for your family through owning your senior care franchise. Others have done it, so can you. Register now to a free franchise masterclass tomorrow, Saturday, that's June 11th at 10 a.m. And here's how you find out, and I believe we're going to have one every couple of weeks. But take this number down, and 805-338-8100, that's 805-338-8100, or email at randy@oneheartcares.com. And that's the number oneheartcares.com. And he is also at www.oneheartfranchise.com. So he can talk to you about other schedules like that. Now, the reason it's important is I've been talking to other people, potential guests, and some guests that have come back to try to really show all of us how important it is to stay busy, to stay engaged. Some things cost more money, some certainly don't. Most hobbies don't, or, well, I should talk. Records and electric trains, astronomy, those things can cost money. So anyway, I just want to bring that up now, and we'll be talking more about staying engaged as time goes on. So today, you know, we usually start with today is National Pizza Day or National whatever day. There was nothing really exciting. So I think what we're going to do maybe from now on such days is take over the job of assigning days. So Sean will be like the secretary of, you know, it's a cabinet level position in Washington, secretary of special days. So we'll start with today. And our first appointed day is not just national, let's make this International Swarm Movie Appreciation Day. Now, I'm not going to ask anybody if they saw that movie because I hope they didn't. But we created that International Day here on the Educated Retirement Radio on KMET. That was an Irwin Allen disaster movie that was itself a disaster, released in 1978. And it is listed in most places as one of the 100 worst movies ever made. Now, you won't believe the stars that are in this. And that's why when I started seeing it on television, my wife, Kathleen, was watching it. And I said, "Why are you watching it?" She said, "Look who's in it." Well, Michael Caine, and this is not like an exit strategy for Michael Caine because this was 1978. So it's not like he was going out as an old actor playing in first-rate, or in this case, second-rate horror type movies or creature movies. This is about bees, African bees. So it said that Michael Caine signed on only because of the others that he saw in the cast that had already signed on. So he signed out without even reading the script. And he enjoyed picking off and eating the little yellow spots on his clothing during the filming until he was told that the little yellow spots were actually bee poop. So Henry Fonda was an avid beekeeper in real life, and he was in there. Catherine Ross, we remember her famously saying that Dustin Hoffman would never amount to anything. Richard Chamberlain was in it, who gave me a 25-cent tip when I waited on him at a place called Clementine's on Roxbury in Beverly Hills in the mid-1970s. Olivia de Havilland was there in the movie. Fred MacMurray's last movie. This was his exit strategy. And of course, we remember his proximity to the Bohemian Grove that we spoke of a few weeks ago. Richard Widmark was there, and Slim Pickens was in it, who probably wished he'd really been on that atomic bomb in Strangelove. Lee Grant and Jose Ferrer. So be sure to jump over to the YouTube channel link about halfway down the front page of theeducatedretirementradio.com. So, and ask me for a free look at what may work for you. The reason is simple: it's education. The cost is zero. The time it takes is up to you. I do promise a fast and easy review so you know better what your options are, and your information is always private and never taken advantage of. And I need to take a breath, so let's take a break. Take it away, Sean, and thanks a lot. See you in a minute. Speaking of selling solutions, I don't sell solutions, I give solutions. So knowledge is power. And speaking of power, the other day I happened to be watching a special about Elon Musk at the first liftoff of his Heavy, and when I say Heavy, I'm not talking about me, rocket. And the special also showed his convertible in space. Now, I tried one of those I take it that was the convertible, the first thing he came out with, and I didn't care for it that much. But I think it's great to have I wish he did a sports car again. But I can't say why, but one thing I was kind of obsessed with, I kept looking at, was how much tread there still is on the tires. And of course, don't panic, that was displayed on the dashboard screen. Now, I would hope most of you out there know where Don't Panic comes from. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, written by Douglas Adams and published in 1979. and stretching to 6 books. So let me just do a quote from there that probably encompasses myself as well. My doctor says that I have a malformed public duty gland and a natural deficiency in moral fiber. Well, I'm not sure about that. Ford, who is one of the characters, muttered to himself, and that I am therefore excused from saving universes. So if you need to save a universe, I might be available, but probably not. And of course, who knows what 42 means? Sean, do you know what 42 means in this context?
No.
Oh, we got to, you know what? Another show, probably. But I remember asking some barista, some young kid making me espresso in, what's the name of that city, Kathleen? No, up on the coast. Anyway, it's a very small place. We were joking around, and I said, oh, Cayucos. And he wanted to know if I wanted to know anything else, and I said, yeah, the meaning of the universe, and he just quipped right back 42. So we'll get into that another time, but it is Ray Bolger's birthday. He popped in 1904, and he took off in 1987, one of the greatest dancers in film, nicknamed Rubber Legs, and he worked as an insurance salesman and sold vacuum cleaners. So there, played the guitar, was an amateur astronomer. He was in films like Babes in Toyland, The Great Ziegfeld, did lots of voiceover for cartoons, and of course The Wizard of Oz in 1939, which makes me want to talk about The Wizard of Oz and a lot of things from that time, but we won't right now. So Ray donated his costume from The Wizard of Oz to the Smithsonian, where it is today, and I just love the Technicolor in there. Now, Technicolor just doesn't mean just color. I guess it was the first 3-strip, which means 3 different cameras, of the basic colors. There was 2 strips before that called Cinecolor, I think. In any case, I'm not a scholar on that. But I love the look of Technicolor from that era because it was not real color. It was kind of what we wanted real color to be. So Wizard of Oz and The Adventures of Robin Hood are probably my 2 favorite examples of that. But when Ray was asked if he regretted not getting residuals from Wizard of Oz, I guess he didn't get residuals, he said he got something much more valuable, immortality. And Rod Stewart was born in 1945, which means he's even older than I am, known as Rod the Mod. So we've got Rubber Legs and Rod the Mod to celebrate today. And I guess his family, pardon me, but you're not going to catch anything through the radio, I don't think. His family kind of idolized Al Jolson and collected all of his records and music and movies, and Rod was brought up to enjoy all of that. He was a school dropout at 15 and became a silk screen printer, and he wanted to become a professional soccer player when he grew up, but that didn't happen. His hobby, however, was railroad modeling, which is one of mine. So no wonder I like him so much. He won a Grammy for Best Traditional Pop Album. Best Tradition. They got lots of Grammys for just about everything. So that was an album called Stardust in 2005, and he was inducted in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1994. And James Brown called him the best white soul singer ever. And I actually saw him in person back in the mid-70s, I guess. I was suffering from pneumonia, one of the several times I used to get it a lot back then, but it didn't stop me from coughing at an outdoor arena at UCSB, or University of California, Santa Barbara, back then. He was also knighted in 2016. And I think I should take this night too. Take the night. No, we should probably take a break so we've got time for the next two sections. So stay with us and take care of yourself. Welcome back to the Educated Retirement Radio here on your home planet, 1490 K, excuse me, at KMET AM Radio, where I'm not suffering that much, but I just, got a cold and it's hard to talk sometimes. I know most people around me are saying, thank God he can't talk, but, we're going to try it anyway. Let's go back and finish a couple of birthdays. Sal Mineo. He popped out in 1938 and he went away in 1976. Of course, one of the stars of Rebel Without a Cause, Exodus, Giant, even played, Giant. By the way, just to remind you, and I'm sure you know, Giant looks like that. It's Giant. And they also played Gene Krupa in the Gene Krupa story, and he was known as the Switchblade Kid. So he got rubber legs, Switchblade Kid, and
the mod.
No, the mod, whatever it is, But he was killed by stabbing. He was known as a Switchblade Kid, and he was killed by stabbing as part of a hate crime. Now, I don't want, you know what? I'll go back and say this. I don't want to put this together because this is not part of a joke, but his parents were coffin makers, by the way. So, we're going to talk about one more thing mainly, and that is on this day in history, you called Jay to find out information about the reverse mortgage. And congratulations for doing that. 866-955-2233. 866-955-2233. Get yourself just some knowledge. On this day in history, Metropolis premiered in Berlin in 1927, directed by Fritz Lang, who also did First Woman on the Moon, featuring the first countdown on film. Yeah, it was silent, but it had the numbers counting down, and that's the first time, and I think as far as NASA and everybody else, they got excited about countdowns because they learned it there. Let me just show you Maria from... Now, Maria was a real woman, but she was also a machine, a robot, if you will. And most of you probably have seen that movie. But if you haven't, you should. And H.G. Wells said he hated the film. He thought it was silly. I, on the other hand, liked it a lot. So, I don't know. If you ever tried reading H.G. Wells, it's kind of awkward for me. So there. Had great special effects for its time. And even now, it looks great. And that kind of reminds me that we lost Sid Mead about a week ago or so. They call him a futurist. I guess he's a designer. His most known claim to fame would probably be Blade Runner, although anybody attached with Blade Runner, that's usually the number one thing they were attached to. But we're sorry to see him go. Now, Metropolis had a music connection, too. There was an alternative soundtrack when the film was restored in 1984. And with that restoration, with Freddie Mercury, Pat Benatar, Adam Ant, and Loverboy, I think we're all on that. And other people praised the film with their own music by Queen. Madonna and Kraftwerk, which I just played the Kraftwerk album of that before we went on the air. So that represents a science fiction view of class warfare and differences between those classes. Same kind of thing as I mentioned in the movie I thought was incredible, Parasite, last week. Same kind of thing, but with a much different ending. Speaking of ending, I will end my part of the program right now. And, here's the Kraftwerk album as I sign off. I found it amongst 1,000 other albums that I hadn't opened yet, so be it. But it's got Metropolis as one of the songs. So let me just sign off with this. Hang on for Randy and the crowd. And I really appreciate all your time. Have yourself a great weekend and take care. So let's just go straight to our guests. We've got two of them. And it is Belinda. Well, let's start with Randy Clarito first, because he is a repeat offender. And Belinda Calderon Nunberg, if I said it correctly, right, Belinda?
Yeah, that's correct. The
two work together, and I believe that Belinda is the CEO, which means Randy is, well, we won't say, we'll let Randy say what he is. But I see stills of you. We're going to be able to get walking, talking pictures of you? Sean? I guess Sean's working on it. So hopefully the people can see something better than just me moving my mouth. But at least there's some pictures of you. So I've got some good information. Belinda has got over 25 years of business experience, HR recruitment, senior healthcare services, and I think I'm one of them seniors, and founder and CEO of a number of successful companies, one of which is being represented by our guests here tonight. One Heart, which here's product placement again, remember?
Oh.
Got to do product placement.
Nice cut.
Oh yeah, I wonder where I got that. So you know, you guys started when? 2015 and just one location and then exploded?
We actually started the business way back in 2001, and 2004 we changed it to One Heart Caregiver Services.
Oh, so the name changed on so I got a whole lot more here on your about you, but I think I'd rather you told us, or both of you told us about yourselves and each other, and then we'll get more into discussion. But first, go into how we can get a hold of you, who you are, and I'm the only one that has to say what I are, because we can see you guys are human. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, hi. Randy's back. So I'd like to call you not the great J, but the great big heart, with a big heart, because I like your cup.
You could have stopped at big, but that's okay. I appreciate it.
Our CEO, Belinda, is the founder of One Heart Caregiver Services 2004. But you're right with 2015, because we started the franchising.
And we're going to be talking about franchising for a lot of different reasons.
Right.
And I'll just yap right now and say that I think this is important for two different things. For one thing, you know, when we're old people like me, I almost said a name that would have been cut off the air, but when you're aged like myself, I really think most of us need to keep on making money, okay, one way or the other. This might be right for you, it might not be right for you. The other thing is, and I think this is really important, the other thing is I really think that it keeps people healthier if they're working. Do you agree?
Agree, yes.
Okay, well, go back to, I'll stop yapping and go back and tell us about yourselves a little more in the company, and then we'll move on.
Yeah, I'll pass it on to our CEO founder, Belinda, now. So,
Yes. I guess I'll have to tell you my story about how we founded One Heart Caregiver Services. So, Jay, actually, my story is really no different from probably 80 to 90% of most immigrants who come to this country. You know, the United States is practically the land of opportunity, correct? So, I came here back in 1991, and that was, in my early 20s. Came in to visit the country and basically fell in love with the country, the way of life.
Yeah, wait a minute. You look like you're in your 20s right now.
No, I'm not. But that's a current picture, I tell you. So I decided to live and raise my family here. So worked hard for 13 years, was an employee for, a cell phone company until I finally took that step into starting my own business. And that was
great.
Yeah, that was in 2001, 18 years ago. I started an employment agency for office personnel professionals. A couple years later, I got so many requests for caregivers and nannies from my clients that I opened another agency. So that's this time this was only for in-home care, and that's how we started the One Heart Caregiver Services agency. Now that was 15, 16 years ago, and already I recognized the potential of the senior care market. So my motivation then was really the income potential of the market. However, things actually changed for me, when I met our first client. Now, being Asian and a Filipino at that, I was raised knowing that it is my duty to take care of my parents when they grow old. Unfortunately, I was at the other side of the world because I moved here, living my own life, taking care of my own children and my family. And, sometime in 2004, my mom was actually diagnosed with cancer. So, she lived for another 5 years, but during this time, I wasn't really there for her. The distance was just something that, separated me from her. And the only thing I could do was actually, call her from time to time, visit her once a year. And when her health got worse, the more I felt guilty, about not being there. And I really couldn't do much because of my responsibilities here. The good thing about it is that back in the Philippines where she was staying, living, we were able to find a caregiver who actually took care of her. So this caregiver, for 5 years, she was like the daughter that I was not there, And, so as I've said, meeting our first client, she was a sweet old lady, 84 years old, in one of the facilities here in Santa Monica. Everything just fell into place for me. As I sat there, listening to her daughter tell me, what she needed done for her mom, I could sense that she I could feel the love and the concern that she had for her mom, but also her frustration for not being able to be there because she had her own family to take care of, work responsibilities to attend to, just like everyone else right now. So I kind of saw myself in her, and at the same time, I saw my own mother in her mom. Here's a person who deserves to be shown love, respect in her old days, and someone who needed to take care of her. So it was then that I realized that this is the one way I can, give back to my mom the love and the care and the support that I wasn't able to give her when she needed me because I was not there, close to her. Mm-hmm. Needless to say, my mom continues to inspire me, and I see her in every
wow, good
senior that we take care of nowadays.
Yeah.
So, well, for me, it's very personal, and for all our team members and employees, this is our passion, to help families take care of their loved ones.
And I know that this time is going to go by faster than any of us think it is. Mm-hmm. Kind of like my life has, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I know there's a couple of great things we can talk about. Randy's been on before talking about the virtues of in-home care. So if we have time, we can get back to that, but that's really number one. But since we're talking about franchises, let's kind of concentrate a little bit on that. So why do you think that so many executives are actually exiting the job market to open a franchise? And if younger executives are finding this a better way to go, then I guess we can extend that to, say, retired people with the ability to do so. This should be on the top of their list also.
Right. Well, you know what? I have to tell you, I actually don't agree totally with that statement. I think that most people who have been employees all their life would rather stay employed, in a job because of the income security that they get, rather than go to business for themselves. Now, those people who are actually brave enough to take that step into doing their own boss and start their business, most of them would want to do it on their own. They want to start from scratch. And few people who exit the job market, like the executives you mentioned, the smarter ones would actually look into franchising, because the general idea is that it's expensive, there's franchise fees and royalty fees that will be paid, it's too restrictive, etc. So a lot of people don't go into franchising. But like I said, the smart ones, business-minded individuals would look into franchise businesses because they know and they realize that a franchise would already have a system in place that they just need to follow to be assured of success. They know that they will be in business for themselves, but never by themselves. And I'm sure Randy has some points to discuss about that also, especially the value of going into franchising compared to starting your own business.
Yeah. Do you know that even lending has franchises?
Yeah.
Just a thing. So anyway, go back, Randy. Sorry to throw that.
Yeah.
Don't mean to interrupt you, but it just popped out because it's it's everywhere.
The biggest motivation for people who goes into a business on their own is to become their own boss. So the independence and franchising being one of the most successful and efficient marketing and distribution system in the world, as evidenced by McDonald's, for example.
Yeah.
The independence of small business ownership will be supported by benefits of a big business network. So we've been there for several years, and we have 5 franchises right now: Southern California and 1 in Las Vegas, Nevada. So we have Beverly Hills, Santa Monica, Santa Barbara, Thousand Oaks, and South Bay area. So they will be supported by a group of franchisees who have performed very well for the past year in 2018.
So you have support. It's not just going in, like, for instance, if you had a life, now you've retired, and you want to get into something maybe a little different than you were in before, because it doesn't make sense to get back into that, doing a franchise, and specifically yours, you get a lot of support.
Yes.
It's as if even if you're a one-man shop, when you first open the door, you've got a lot of synergy with a lot of other people doing the same thing.
Yes, your educated retirement audience and listeners will be able to get the brand of One Heart, the operating system, and the ongoing support. So we have
a cup.
All of this marketing giveaways will be able to be supported by our marketing department, which means that they don't need to put up their own marketing back office and not hire anymore some people. So we will have the ongoing support for as long as you carry the One Heart name and brand. We are all in one in supporting growing One Heart. This is what we're doing, promoting the One Heart brand. So this is something that will be ongoing, and it's a 10-year contract and agreement, and it's renewable in the next another 5 more years. So because of the attractiveness of the industry, they will be able to have a sustainable business for the next 10 to 20 years, especially with all the support from all the departments, from recruitment, staffing, operations, marketing, and social media, and other sales, training, ongoing training.
So somebody like me that knows nothing about your business, even though all I need is care, and I have since I was born. I remember in the crib I needed care, and I still do. If I want to get on the other side of that, I could.
Yeah, we have
And-
franchisee existing right now that doesn't have a healthcare background and no business background. So they're able to continue generating a good performance revenue last year.
Mhm.
With the
So before we go any further, because I know it's going to be as soon as we blink our eyes a couple more times, it's going to be too late to give out your contact information. Now you can always call me. You've got my number, everybody out there. But go ahead and give all of your contact information, phone numbers, website, everything.
We have our contact number 818-906-4441. But you can also call and text me at 805-338-8100. We have two websites that they can visit, oneheartfranchise.com and oneheartcares.com.
Yeah,
And
that's
remember, if anybody needs care, which we all do at one time or another, you can use that also.
Sure.
And I think everybody needs care at one time or another. And I think the sooner you get care, the longer you're going to live. And the sooner you get care, the longer you're going to be able to live in your home. But that's just me yapping. So now we know why a franchise is a good way to go if you're going to open a business or be in business for yourself. We had another guy on, Ray Ramirez, who talked about how McDonald's, you'd mentioned McDonald's earlier, but McDonald's is out to get senior citizens to go to work.
Yes.
I guess because they don't have to pay them very much. They're not going to take maternity leave. They don't have a college schedule to work around. But on the other hand, I guess that's one way to look at it. Maybe it's a great thing for McDonald's to do. I have kind of mixed emotions about all that. But if you want to go work, you can go work by owning your own business instead. Or if you want to do it little by little, you can probably get the right kind of training and go to work for someone at a One Heart. But so, we know what you do, I think, pretty much. Or do you want to just give a brief outline of what you do?
As far as our work is concerned, basically what we do is when families realize that their parents, their aging parents usually would need help, they would give us a call and they would ask for a caregiver to help out their mom or their dad, with activities of daily living. So it's not just, sometimes it's just companionship. They want somebody to be there to talk to their mom, or their mom or their dad lives alone. So they want somebody to be there before something happens. The risk of falling, it grows as you're older. So sometimes it's too late,
If you're built like me, you bounce right back up. But I mean, most people don't have those kind of built-in accoutrements. But let me ask you a question. Does anybody, it's always seems like children call. How about people themselves? Do they ever kind of give you a call and say, I need some help?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yes. We do get calls from people who need it themselves, and they call and inquire, can you have somebody, come in and help me out right away? Sometimes we get, by the way, not just people from the care recipients themselves, but also hospitals and other facilities who have skilled nursing facilities would call us before they discharge any of their patients. They would call us for help just to make sure.
To make sure that when people do go home, there's someone there when it's needed.
Yes. So
yeah.
So we all know that that America is an aging nation. So there's this wonderful opportunity in the senior care industry, actually, that I think most people who are business minded, want to go into business for themselves, should really look into this.
Yeah, I was gonna ask a little more about One Heart specifically, but the senior care industry in general has got to be booming. And if it's not, and no matter how booming it is, it's going to boom even more, right?
Correct. Yes.
I mean, so is the reverse mortgage industry booming. It's booming because of people getting older. I wish it were, and I think it's going to change, and more people are going to want it because they want it, not because they think they need it. And it should be the same with your industry too. Somebody shouldn't wait until they have already fallen down before calling you. I mean, that's just silly. They should have support that they need. But I think it's been said that the fastest growing group or age group in this country are the 100-year-olds, followed by the 85-year-olds. And I haven't even made it to the first leg yet of that. So given that, there has got to be an explosion. I mean, we are living longer than we thought we would be. And definitely we're living longer than the insurance industry has considered in the past. Long-term health care, regular insurance, none of this was Medicare, quite frankly, none of this was set up for people living into their hundreds. And we need help. And we might as well be part of getting help and giving help. And if you can make some money at the same time and reward yourself, because there isn't just income, there's reward with doing this kind of work. Right?
Can I add some more about that? You're right when you mentioned that we're living longer, but a big number of statistics shows that seniors are living longer, but with health limitations.
Mm-hmm.
So eating.
Well, yeah, that goes without saying. That's pretty.
We are unable to perform the regular activities of daily living. Hence, they are supposed to be with somebody else, like a caregiver or a family member, to be with them, because most of them live by themselves.
Yeah, I used to be able to think about working out for an hour. Now I can only think about working out for 10 minutes. Of course, I don't do either one of those, but you know.
That's still good, Jay.
Oh, sure. Thank you.
Remember, we declared last time when we were there in your show that our healthcare industry is defective. It focused on illness. One Heart, who our CEO, focused on wellness. So we have brain health wellness, we have fall prevention awareness program, we have neurobics brain exercises. So these are what we do to be able to promote wellness, longevity, and improve lifestyle.
Yeah, I'd like to get you out in the. We'll talk about getting you out in the field here. Either kind of this year is almost over,
Sure.
And we can put on some talks and some shindigs with some people. We can do some mind games and some memory kind of, without embarrassing anybody, because I would be the first to be embarrassed if it mattered.
Yeah.
But games and things to test our memory so that people can go in there and do what they need to do.
All right. Sure.
So now that I guess we all know that this is probably the best business, I mean, let's face it, food and health, entertainment, you can't do any of it unless you stay alive and are healthy. This is the number one way to stay at home, the number one way to reach that 100 and whatever. And remember, reverse mortgages do have to be paid off when you reach 150. So what we want to do is get together and make sure that Congress has to move that beyond 150. So why do you think you're different from other companies in the field?
For our franchisees, I would say we're different from the other franchisors or those big franchisors because we are not really after the numbers. We care about their success and not about the fees. We are after the quality of partnership that we have with our franchisees. We're very hands-on with trainings, and we provide to our franchisees because our goal is to make sure that they are successful in their business.
Mm-hmm.
We go beyond just being available via phone calls or emails and supporting our franchisees. In fact, Randy here just came back from Las Vegas.
All right, let's go.
To help our franchisees in an activity that he did in one of the facilities over there. And that's within a matter of 2 months. He had to go there. No charge to the franchisee, unlike other franchisors. Every time they send a field consultant or what over the number that they put in their franchise agreement, they would charge. we did not, because we just want to make sure that he's good, so Randy was there to help him.
Yesterday, I was the
fine.
South Bay franchisee, Hermosa Beach, Palos Verdes. So I was there with them.
Yeah.
And I used to have like up to 4 different offices in Las Vegas. And what I found out about older people then, because I didn't consider myself older, a few years ago, most important thing to them was video poker. Is that still important in the senior world there?
Yeah, I guess.
I think
Randy doesn't play that, so we can't ask.
No, I didn't either, but it just seemed big time.
I can play the brain yoga with them. So
Yeah. So go over again how someone can get started with your franchise. Also let people know how they can get started with your services, because the number one thing for happiness, which leads to health, which leads to longevity, is having a helping hand to make it through all of that. So Go ahead and give us your information again before we're all gone.
Yes.
I don't mean pass on. I mean the show's over.
Correct. So we wanted to have a good profile and pre-qualification of any franchise candidate. So we have our franchise applications, the first franchise step process. Second is to meet and greet with the executives of the company, me, our CEO, and our VP, Kevin Tagarao. So then we will be able to give us a third step process is the franchise disclosure document, when it outlines 28 items about the franchise, the overview of the senior care industry management team. And then we will have a discovery day when they have to visit our office to be able to see all the department heads and get to be explained what we do by each department and how we can fully support them. And then we'll be able to have the contract signing if both of us would be able to agree that this is going to be a good business marriage.
Mm-hmm.
And the last step would be the 5-day business academy training that we'll be able to discuss and have a complete training of all the departments and all the important roles and positions in the office. So they'll be able to operate it as the same way as any One Heart office in different places. So it's a replication of the successes, the system, the process, and the methodology.
Yeah, and at our last minute here, I do want to point out that I think not only are people living longer, the other thing that's been changing is that, maybe 15 years ago, Craigslist was a decent place for people to get caregivers. That, after all the horror stories have come out,
Yes.
that is no longer a viable option. And it's nothing anybody, you want somebody, even if you have a neighbor or a good friend or family, those people probably are not trained the way your people are, right?
Yes.
Okay. And with that, I guess it's over for today. So let me get rolling and thank you both, Belinda and Randy, and especially Sean, and that's our engineer, and everybody else out there. So Kaplan will be here on the same corner in front of the cigar store, which One Heart doesn't support, next week. Have a good weekend.
You've been listening to the Educated Retirement Show with Jay Kaplan. Tune in every Friday at 3 p.m. to learn more about your mortgage and reverse mortgages. And don't forget, each show is also podcasted on the KMET website, KMET1490am.com. Thanks for listening.